Massive confusion, panicked parents, laid off workers. That was the scene after CPS cut off funding for supervised parental visits just in time for the holidays. What happened? Well, CPS won't say, but their internal documents speak volumes. Not on Your Side investigator Craig Smith found a trail of missed cues, ignored warnings, and broken promises.
Christmas was coming as workers for Aviva Child Services turned in the equipment they used to help reunite troubled families. Parents who depended on the supervised visits, parents such as Margarita Verdugo, wondered when they'd see their children again.
It's just not knowing is what scares me, because I love my children very much.
Her family was caught in a budget bungle where Aviva and similar agencies laid off staff and canceled parent-child visits, all because CPS suddenly cut off the flow of money. What happened? After agency officials ducked for cover, Not on Your Side used Arizona's public records law to obtain internal documents. The records showed that Arizona Baptist Children's Services began sending up distress rockets by email at the end of September. With visitation demand through the roof, the bottom of the budget was already in sight 8 months early. On October 1st, Andrea Stewart asked CPS whether more money, known in bureaucratese as Curo units, would be available, saying her organization staffed up based on what CPS said it needed, quote, with the assumption that units could be increased as they have in the past.
But the feeling was, here's a need, meet the need, we'll take care of you. Was that the understanding?
I think that was our initial understanding, but obviously we know that the state operates within a budget, and so we do know that, it may be that there's only a specific amount of service they may be able to fund, and so that was part of the conversations that we were having with them is, where does this leave us in terms of the services that we're providing?
Stewart warned CPS that at this rate, she'd have to lay off part of her staff and reduce services. But Stewart's warning was not news to CPS. The documents show days earlier, Flora Sotomayor, CPS top boss in Pima County, got some bad news from a contract administrator. Before increasing Curo payments, CPS would have to cut $30 to $35 million elsewhere. Sotomayor responds, quote, while we need the service, we do not have sufficient funding to increase to a viable level. But while administrators were warning each other of the impending crisis, Bob Hesslinger of Aviva says CPS gave him and his colleagues a different message.
Was there a point where some leaders in CPS are saying, keep serving these families, and other people are saying, hang on, where's the money?
That was early on. I think it was in like October or November, and we were strongly encouraged by the acting program manager to just, keep doing the business, and somebody said, well, wait a minute, our Curo doesn't allow for that, and the acting program manager said, well, don't worry about it, just do it, and the money will be forthcoming.
But CPS did not keep that promise, and by December 5th, Aviva and other providers were ending services and handing out walking papers. But 9 days later, after Not on Your Side began asking questions, CPS changed course again. It told providers by letter the cutoff was, quote, a misunderstanding, and promised to restore the money. Now, life is returning to normal for Stewart, Hesslinger, and the families their agencies serve. Hesslinger can only hope that CPS has learned something.
Like, how many times do I have to put my hand in a fire to learn? That's not a smart thing to do. That's going to affect my personal culture, right? So I'm going to learn. And I'm hoping that DES will corporately learn, gee, we didn't handle that real well, so let's make sure we never do that again.
Craig Smith, KGUN-9, On Your Side.
So here's the Not on Your Side bottom line here, and we really can't say it more plainly than this. In this case, the people you pay and trust to do their jobs didn't. And then, when the you-know-what hit the fan, they let you down again, hiding from cameras and our questions. The man in charge, Clarence Carter, had his gatekeepers inform us that he will not be available to answer our questions, ever. Period. The end. Sorry, but in our democracy, that response is not good enough. This is an incredibly powerful public agency. You deserve more from its leaders. If you have an opinion on this issue, a good person to call would be Carter's boss, Governor Jan Brewer. Her number during regular business hours is 602-542-4331. You can also find more contact information on our website, KGUN9.com. And stick around. We'll be right back with weather.